Parvavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.
The poem for the day is Pineapple and the Bee. We'll just first go through the poem read out by Swamiji.
The pineapple and the bee. The pineapples in triple row were basking hot and all in blow. A bee of most discerning taste perceived the fragrance as he passed. On eager wing the spoiler came and searched for crannies in the frame, urged his attempt every side, to every pane his trunk applied, but still in vain the frame was tight and only pervious to the light. Thus having wasted half the day, he trimmed his flight another way. Methinks I said, in thee I find the sin and madness of mankind. To joys forbidden man aspires, consumes his soul with vain desires. Folly, the spring of his pursuit, and disappointment, all the fruit. While Cynthia ogles as she passes, the nymph between two chariot glasses, she is the pineapple and he the silly unsuccessful bee. The maid who views with pensive air the show glass fraught with glittering ware, sees watches, bracelets, rings and lockets, but sighs at thought of empty pockets. Like thine, her appetite is keen, but the cruel glass between. Our dear delights are often such, exposed to view but not to touch. The sight our foolish heart inflames, we long for pineapples in frames. With hopeless wish, one looks and lingers, one breaks the glass and cuts his fingers. But they whom truth and wisdom lead can gather honey from a weed. William Cowper.
As we said in the last class, the English poems that are selected in this book called the Select English Poems, they are all written by great authors, small poems except the last three poems which are large and long poems. They are conveying one or two important values. And this poem, The Pineapple and the Bee, is written by a great author called William Cowper. Swamiji used to say that before he was introduced to Vedanta, before he learnt or listened to lectures on Bhagavad Gita and other Vedantic texts from Swami Chinmayananda, his father used to teach him certain texts at home. And some of these texts were these English poems, and that's how he was introduced to this. And he got interested in this also. And one of the reasons for that was his father's guru or his family guru, something like that, was a gentleman named Seshachala Iyer in Chennai. And he was already taking classes on English poems and connecting it to Vedantic principles. And one of his favorite poems was this Pineapple and the Bee. There are two main motivating factors for human being. It is acquisition and enjoyment. In Sanskrit, we use the term Kanchana and Kamini. Kanchana refers to gold, which refers to wealth or acquisition. Kamini refers to woman, which refers to enjoyment. It is symbolically, it must be taken. These are the two main motivating factors. If you do not base your life on dharma, which is the right principle of human living, then other pursuits in life will be in vain. So you would have heard this term dharma, artha, kama. So dharma is the core principle, and we are recommended to live our life based on dharma. When you live your life based on dharma, you will get artha or wealth according to whatever you do action. That is also a dharmic action that you do. There is nothing wrong in gaining wealth. And as householders, it is your duty to gain wealth and maintain your family and do whatever activities that you need to do in the world. There is a requirement for wealth. So there is nothing per se wrong in it. But the base is dharma. And then with that wealth, you can also have legitimate enjoyments in life. That is pursuit of kama. So artha and kama are not forbidden for us, are not a taboo for us. But the base must be dharma. But if you forget dharma and think life is only meant for acquisition and enjoyment, sooner or later you are going to hit dead end. This poem is talking about the ill effect of acquisition and enjoyment and what is happening within the system of a person if he pursued blindly, without any purpose. If he is blindly following this acquisition and enjoyment, how it is going to be detrimental to him. That is the theme of this poem. In fact, simple Vedantic texts like even Bhajagovindam are emphasizing this point only. So, the story in the poem is very simple. There is a bee. This bee is flying here and there. As the bee is flying, it is able to somehow get the fragrance of pineapples which are kept within a frame. Like you see in the shops, they keep within the frame, glass frames. Like that, they have kept the pineapple. He says it is basking hot and glow. Maybe something they have made out of the pineapple also. So it is arranged nicely and it is kept within the frame. Somehow it has got that fragrance and now it is coming and seeing it is all there. So it is trying from every side to enter into that and have a taste of that pineapple. The pineapple is not meant for the bee. They have kept it for a party or they have kept it for a sale or whatever. They have kept it for some humans to consume. It does not really is meant for the bee. But the bee has perceived the fragrance and it is trying from every side to enter the frame and have the pineapple for itself. Unfortunately, the frame is very tight and it is not able to do so. Like this, it wastes its time for half a day. Half the day is gone, it is only trying here and there. It just could not get through. Then with hopelessly it goes the other way. It is just going the other way. This is the story, if you want to call it a story. This is what the poet is saying in the beginning. And then he is going to equate the pursuit of the bee to that of human beings. And he is going to equate in both acquisition and enjoyment. One of the most brilliant works you will find. We will just go through this poem in detail. It's very interesting. The pineapples in triple row were basking hot and all in blow. It is very interesting that the author has used the term triple row. That means they are arranged in 3 rows. Those who are regular in these classes and those who have some background of Vedanta, you will know that this term or this number 3 is very important. In various ways it is associated with Vedanta. The gunas are 3 in number. Like that, various aspects of our lives is 3 in number. And here we always know that our pursuit of the world, pursuit of happiness or enjoyment in the world is at 3 levels. We want enjoyment at the level of our body, our mind and intellect. So we look for physical pleasures, emotional joy and intellectual delights. So maybe to indicate that, he has said that the pineapples are arranged in triple row. Okay. Where basking hot and all in blow, a bee of most discerning taste. This figure of speech in English is called as dramatic irony. Bee of most discerning taste means it has excellent taste. It has discerning taste. Meaning, to equate it a little further, it is of a very thinking capacity it has, and it has got the perfect taste, and with that it is perceiving the fragrance. See, what he is meaning is the opposite. Actually, it is a foolish bee. It is not a wise bee. It is a foolish bee because it is trying for something which is not belonging to the bee. So to indicate the opposite, they say it's such a wonderful thing. That means what he's trying to say means it is not at all good. Sometimes we use the figure of speech like that. That is called as dramatic irony. So in Sanskrit, they sometimes use this term called as Pandita Putra. Pandita Putra means he is the son of a Pandit. Pandit means a wise person, a knowledgeable person. So if the teacher is there and this student is there in the class and he is actually son of a knowledgeable person, but he is not actually doing well in the class. He is getting low marks and he is not reading well. Then you will say, oh, you are Pandita Putra. That means you are the son of a wise person. That means you are not living up to that standard. You are a fool. That is what it means. So when they use the term Pandita Putra, it means just the opposite. Exactly like that. A bee of most discerning taste means it is not a very bee with a discerning thinking power. It is just a foolish bee. Perceived the fragrance as he passed. So he was able to catch the fragrance of the pineapple. On eager wing, the spoiler came and searched for crannies in the frame. Urged his attempt on every side, to every pane his trunk applied. So very eagerly the bee came and it is searching for the pieces that are kept in the frame. Within that glass framework it is kept. So it is searching. Urged his attempt on every side. From every side it is trying to come in. To every pane his trunk applied. It is trying to get through on every side. But still in vain. It is vain. It is waste. The frame was tight. The frame was very, very tight and only pervious to the light. Only pervious to the light means only light can come inside because it is transparent glass. It was only pervious to the light. Obviously, bee cannot enter them. Thus, having wasted half the day, he trimmed his flight another way. Here is another important message. Like this, you simply keep on lingering your thoughts on certain enjoyments of life which you probably do not know how to get it, or you are not supposed to even aim for it from the practical point of view, but yet the mind keeps on lingering on it. You try this and that from every side, but nothing is working for you. By the time you realize this, what has happened? Half your life is wasted. Half your life is wasted. Can I try this? Can I try that? Can I do this? Can I do that? Before you even think about what is your pursuit of life, half the life goes away. And what are you pursuing? You think in terms of very many things which are very, very attractive to you. But you do not know the method of even achieving it. Plus, you do not know how realistic it is for you to even entertain the thoughts. In this process, your time gets wasted. You come back to the square one and you have not progressed anywhere. This is what the poet observes the bee doing. Now this episode of the bee, he is going to apply in our lives. So the rest of the poem is trying to explain this characteristic of bee. and he is going to explain the fallacy in our pursuit. Methinks, I said, in thee I find the sin and madness of mankind. Methinks means I think. The poet is saying I think. In thee means he is addressing the bee. In you, in the bee, I find the sin and madness of mankind. The choice of the words is very interesting here. Sin and madness of mankind. Madness refers to intellectual poverty. Crack. That means no intellect. That is a mad person. A mad person is one who cannot think. So there is absolutely a state of ignorance. In that state of ignorance, you do not know how and what to think. What is the result of that? The result of that is sin. Sin here refers to mental agitations. See, sin, in Sanskrit we use the term papa. Papa is not, sin is not inherent in any action. It is in the reaction that comes in your mind based on certain actions that you perform. So certain actions that you do and it agitates your mind, that means you have sinned at your level. So he is saying this bee is out of ignorance. It is trying from every side, and in each and every moment that it is trying, what is it happening within its mind? It is extremely agitated. So in a way that it is sinning from its standpoint. So that aspect of it, when we apply to human mind, you will understand. Out of ignorance, when you do actions in the world, it will come back and agitate you. That agitation that is caused in the mind is termed as sin here. So in thee I find the sin and madness of mankind. The entire mankind is pursuing aimlessly, recklessly like this, and I am able to find what the bee is doing in the pursuit of the human beings. That's what the poet says here. Methinks, I said, in thee I find the sin and madness of mankind. To joys forbidden man aspires. To joys forbidden man aspires, consumes his soul with vain desires. Man is aspiring or desiring or wanting certain joys which are forbidden, he says. We might have heard this, that Adam and Eve, they were told not to consume the fruit, and they consumed, and then they suffered the consequences. So there is a terminology also known as forbidden fruit, that you must not consume that fruit. Now here it is not to be taken as something which is forbidden in it per se. Why it is forbidden? Forbidden means from your standpoint you do not deserve it, therefore it is forbidden for you. Nothing per se is forbidden. Apple is not forbidden. Fruit is not forbidden. Enjoyments in the world is not forbidden. Forbidden means it is sort of denied to you or a taboo. No, not like that. Why it is forbidden for you? When do you deserve something? We did this when we did the poem long back, maybe on the olive tree. So there we said there is an equation that desire plus action is what you deserve. You get in life what you deserve, not what you desire. Please remember this law. You get in life what you deserve, not what you desire. But then what is that I deserve? For me to deserve something, there must be definitely a thought about it. But when I think about it and crave about it and I keep on imagining about it, it is not going to come to me. In fact, my own craving is going to stop the object from coming to me. Therefore, I need to rise above that thought to get that. In order for me to rise above that thought or desire, I need to do karma. So what really brings the fruit of action is the action. And that action is not aimless action. Action is a determined action. Determined action which follows your pursuit or thought. So therefore, your thought plus action, your desire plus action is what you deserve. So therefore, what you must aim in life is to do something in life based on which you will deserve. Whatever you will deserve, you will get it. But what does man actually do here, as the poet points out here, is to joys forbidden man aspires. Without working for it, without deserving it, you are simply caught up in the world of imagination. That is a forbidden joy for you. In fact, that is why movies are successful. Why are we able to enjoy the movies? Because what is fanciful in your imagination is shown on screen. You are the superhero and you have the best heroine and you have all the positive qualities and other things. So why are you able to enjoy the movie? Because vicariously you put yourself in the position of the hero. The girl may put herself in the position of the heroine. And therefore there is an enjoyment. Why? Because you are not able to achieve the same thing in the real life. So therefore what is triggered in your imagination, that is the success of the movie director, I would say, how much he can trigger your imagination and take you like that. But after that 3 hours or 2.5 hours is over, you better come back and have a reality check. If you continue to live in that imagination, it is going to be an extreme waste of time and energy for you. So joys forbidden means you do not know how and when and why, but from practical point of view, you have not even thought about it. There is no application of intellect at all. But simply the mind imagines something which at present really does not belong to you from the level that you are. So it becomes a forbidden desire. So to the joys forbidden man aspires, and what does he do? Consumes his soul with vain desires. Wonderful line this is. Consumes his soul with vain desires. These desires actually consume your soul. It eats up your system. You will not be able to do anything else in life. You will not be able to discharge basic duties in life also. And these desires, he says, are vain desires. Why it is inspiring for us is that there is a very parallel verse in Bhagavad Gita, chapter 9, verse 12. It says, Moghasha, exact translation, Moghasha means vain desires. Moghasha, Moga Karmanaha, Moga Jnana Vichetasaha. Asurim, Rakshasim, Asurim Chaiva, Prakritim Tanumashruta. In the previous verse he says, fools disregard me who is within them. Me means the self. Krishna is talking, Lord Krishna is talking, and when he uses the term me, he is referring to the Supreme Self. So who is the fool in a human being? Who disregards me? Who disregards me means he does not know that the Supreme Self is within, and that is his main pursuit in life. When this sort of idea itself is not there, our pursuit becomes extremely extroverted, and then we take the nature of Asura and Rakshasa. That's why he says Rakshasim Asurim Chaiva. That is the demonic pursuit. And such a pursuit in life is Mogha. Mogha means vain. So without you aligning yourself to the main pursuit of life, which is the pursuit of the self, which is the pursuit of happiness in the proper way, or even which is the pursuit of dharma in this world, take that. Without you being on the line of dharma and doing everything as a duty that you must do, simply caught in the mind's imagination of acquisition and enjoyment, Whatever then you entertain as desire, whatever actions you do, whatever knowledge you gain in the world also are vain, waste, extreme waste of energy. Exactly fits into the pineapple story in this poem. Mogasha. It's a vain desire. This vain desire, what it will do is it will consume your soul. It is very interesting that he says even such a pursuit of knowledge in the world is also vain. Of what avail? That is why in the Bhajagovindam first verse he says Bhajagovindam, Bhajagovindam, Govindam, Bhaja Mudamate. At the appointed time, Sanskrit rules are not going to come and save you. Sanskrit rule means the mundane pursuit in the world. That is not going to save you. So to the joys forbidden man aspires, consumes his soul with vain desires. Again, two beautiful lines. Folly, the spring of his pursuit, and disappointment, all the fruit. The spring of the pursuit means the very basis of his desire, the very root of his desire. It is folly. So that means the very basis with which you have started this pursuit itself is wrong. So if you start your journey like that, disappointment, all the fruit. At the end, what will happen is disappointment. Just as the bee was extremely disappointed at the end of its pursuit, you will also have disappointment. So therefore, think about your desires. Think about whatever you want in life. From where does it come? Why do you want to entertain it? I want a Mercedes car. Why do I need a Mercedes car? I have not thought about it. It is just that maybe because of peer pressure, maybe my friend has it and therefore I want it. Is it according to my status? Is it according to the level of my income? Is it according to my requirement? All this thought, when you apply, it comes within the realm of your intellect. But that is not done at all. Simply the mind is aspiring for something based on some fancy. As I said, it could be because somebody else is having, or is it something because you saw an advertisement, or it is something because your friend said, or something like that. What is the basis? You have not even applied your thought 1% here. So these are the pursuits which he says are folly. I somehow want to go to America and settle. Why? Going to America is not wrong, please. Staying in India is also not wrong. But I want to go to America and that has been consuming this thing. Okay. Still you may try and you go there and you settle there. What always you get based on what you deserve is a package deal. A rose is there means thorn is also there, but we get attracted only by the rose. When it is handed over to you, thorn will also be there. So you must know how to contact the rose and enjoy the rose. For which you must know the overall picture of the rose. For which you must know why you need the rose in the first place. Why are you aspiring for rose? This you must have in the first place. Exactly like that. If this person is going to America is one fancy, one dream, that's fine. But he will get it as a package deal. You might have to encounter that language, that culture and the way of living there. It is just not the status and the money there, everything there. So at the end of it all, when you get married there, let us say, and your son is dating a white girl and you don't want that or something. No. Oh, I am disappointed in my life. Why has my life turned out like this? Because folly the spring of your pursuit. The basis of your pursuit itself was not correct. It started from a wrong foot. So as I said, per se, any desire is not wrong. Going to America is not wrong, studying Vedanta is not wrong, earning money is not wrong, or working in Rahi or any other company is not wrong. But what is it that you are wanting? What is it? That means you must be clear of your desires in the first place, which is not the case with most of our desires at most points of time. Folly, the spring of his pursuit, and therefore at the end what you will get? You will get only disappointment, and disappointment all the fruit. Now he gives an example of enjoyment. While Cynthia ogles as she passes the nymph between two chariot glasses. She is the pineapple and he the silly unsuccessful bee. There is a chariot that is going, and in the chariot a beautiful young girl is sitting. While Cynthia ogles means, ogling is looking at in a very amorous way. So the moonlight is there and it is casting its light on her, meaning it is a very conducive environment for sensual enjoyment. So this girl, who is a very beautiful girl, maybe a princess, she is going in the chariot, and this boy is standing by the side and he is just watching. So the poet is comparing that girl to a pineapple. And who is the bee? The bee is the boy here. He is silly. Because the chariot glasses are there. He is able to see only. He will not be able to go near her, touch her or enjoy her. Not possible. Now this may sound poetic, but what he is talking is a practical truth. I'll narrate you an incident which Swamiji narrated about his college life when he was in England. For obvious reasons, we are not mentioning the name, but one of his friends who was also studying with him, this gentleman, all of them were friends together and studying there. So maybe once in a year or once in a long time, the royal family, the princess will come out and maybe give darshan to the public. It is maybe a tradition there. So whoever is the queen now, Queen Elizabeth, right? So might be she was the princess at that point of time. We are talking about in 1940s and 50s maybe, whatever that time. And since that was a big event there in England, these boys were also interested and they all went to watch this procession. And she was a very young princess at that point of time and a ravishing beauty. Swamiji said it was really an experience by itself. But everybody then came back and then they were continuing whatever they were going to be. They had gone from India to there to study. Now this friend of Swamiji, he was not his own self after this particular incident. So there was some disturbance in his behavior. All his friends could notice. When they asked what is wrong with him, he would say nothing, and he will try to brush it under the carpet and be casual about it. But something was not wrong really. They could easily find out. They could see a change in his behavior. His schedule was getting distracted. And probably he was not as serious in the studies as before. So they were concerned. As a concerned friend, they really forced that issue out of him. What is really wrong? Please tell us. So then he had to open up and say that the princess who came out, he had fallen in love with her. And everybody was... they were surprised and they were a little bit saying, what is this ridiculous thing that you are saying? And immediately he gets angry. You know, that is why I don't want to tell you, this is a divine love. All the cinematic type of dialogues he would say. and he would go in front of that palace and wait whether she will come on balcony and see something like that. This was happening. Now, what would you call this type of a desire? This is, I am talking about an incident, it actually happened. And Swamiji said it took a couple of weeks to months for them to bring this person back to his normal self. This is what the mind will ask for. But why? What? So okay, you can always argue, can that person not fall in love and can they not marry? All this is cinematic and theoretical. You being an Indian, you are not even a citizen there, you have gone there to study, and what is your pursuit, what is your social status, what is your background, all these things, first of all, is it actually possible at all? 0% chance. But the mind will fancy about this and say it is love, divine love, and something will happen suddenly. At the end of the cinema, they say, they lived happily thereafter, like that they put, and that is the end of the story. But actually, in real life, that is the beginning. How it will happen like that? It cannot happen. So like this, you consume your soul with vain desires. So in this case, this person is the bee, this boy, and the girl in the chariot is the pineapple. So it is a very unsuccessful pursuit. It is talking about enjoyment. Now he is going to talk about acquisition. The maid who views with pensive air the show glass fraught with glittering ware, sees watches, bracelets, rings and lockets, but sighs at the thought of empty pockets. There is a maid. She is standing in front of a shop, like what they use the term, window shopping. Through the glass, she is seeing all the things that are displayed in the shop. All are glittering, very attractive. She sees the watches, bracelets, rings and lockets. Every beautiful thing is all displayed there very nicely. But what? But sighs at the thought of empty pockets. She doesn't have money. She can't buy them. So she is giving a big sigh. Sees watches, bracelets, rings and lockets, but sighs at the thought of empty pockets. Like thine, her appetite is keen, but the cruel glass in between. Like thine means he is telling the bee, like you, her appetite is very keen. She is craving. She is very thirsty. She is wanting it very much. But what is there in between? What is there in between is the cruel glass. It is again a figure of speech. I think it is called as pathetic fallacy. The glass is not cruel, but it is cruel for her because it is stopping her from reaching the object of her desire. There is a cruel glass. So everywhere here we find in this poem, there is a cruel glass between. The pineapple had first the cruel glass. It was not able to go inside. Then the boy had that cruel glass of the chariot from where only he can see that girl. And here she wants to acquire various things of her desire, but her pockets are empty. And there is always this cruel glass. You can only probably see it. You are not able to acquire it and enjoy it. Not possible. This is the story. This is the exact, message that the poet wants to convey. Now, in conclusion, there is beautiful idea that he gives. These last 8 lines, if you can by heart it, please by heart it. These are given in italics. It is not there in the main poem. It is there given by Swamiji here. The last 8 lines of the poem, as I said, if you can by heart, nothing like it, because it is giving a very important message. And he is summarizing the poem here. Our dear delights are often such exposed to view but not to touch. Our dear delights are often such, exposed to view but not to touch. Our wishes, our desires are in such a way that most of the time it is only exposed to view but not to touch. So that means you can see it from a distance. You cannot actually go and enjoy it. This is not to discourage us. It is only to say that you are not in the position that you are in that deserving position now. Our dear delights are often such, exposed to view but not to touch. The sight our foolish heart inflames, we long for pineapples in frames. The very sight of it, our foolish heart inflames. See, what happens is that in Bhajagovindam there is a verse, third verse, where Shankaracharya says, Nari stanavara nabi desham drishtva maga moha vesham. Seeing the bosom and contours of a woman, you get into what is known as a frenzied delusion. This is called as moha avesham. Exactly the same thing he says here. The sight our foolish heart inflames. Your heart is set in flames. It is inflamed. Why? You think that there is pleasure in it and you completely lose your head in it. Actually, it is what is interesting is, part by part you analyze, you are not really liking it. And this we will understand only when we look at it from the other side, which is called as pratipaksha bhavana. See, a person looks at the body of a woman and he completely loses himself. He is completely, he is in a frenzied delusion. He is looking at the bosom and navel of the woman, let's say. Now you analyze it. Okay, at that point of time you cannot analyze, now you analyze it. What is it that is actually making you getting into this frenzied delusion? All that thing that you see and get excited about is nothing but a modification of flesh and fat. Suppose, if you ask a person, why do you like that girl? She is very beautiful. What is it in her that you see as beauty? Her smile, okay, the teeth. Suppose you want to give him the teeth separately, will he like it? He will not like it. He will run away from it. Suppose if it is the hair, you cut the hair and give him, will he like it? No. So what is the beauty here, or what is the play of Maya here? Those things which you independently don't like, when it is given in a package like this totally, you are able to somehow like it. And not only you like, your mind gets into a frenzied delusion. That frenzied delusion is indicated here as the sight our foolish heart inflames. We long for pineapples in frames. That which is there, which is not meant for us, we long for it. The last 4 lines are even wonderful. With hopeless wish, one looks and lingers, one breaks the glass and cuts his fingers. There are 3 types of gunas, 3 types of people. We know that based on the gunas we call them tamasic, rajasic and sattvic. Tamasic is inactive nature of the mind. Rajasic is extremely passionate and active state of the mind. The highest state of mind is called as sattvic or sattva. Sattva is the pure state of mind, which is objective, which is calm, which is meditative, which is using the intellect. All of us have all the 3. Okay, now we can equate the last 4 lines into these 3 categories. What do the tamasic people do? Or in tamasic state of mind, what you do? With hopeless wish, one looks and lingers. You keep on imagining, you keep on looking at it, you don't do anything about it, you don't know how to pursue the desire, extremely inactive, but the mind is completely in a delusion, in a frenzied imagination. So with hopeless wish, one looks and lingers. He is just lingering. One breaks the glass and cuts his fingers. That is rajasic. He is pushed by the desire. He is forcefully getting into it. Therefore, what he does certain things which are against the law, which are against the norms. Therefore, he cuts his fingers. A person who aimlessly pursues like this does, because of his forceful desire, he adopts corrupt means, he does various things. he ends up in jail. That's what he does. So he cuts his fingers. You are allowed to pursue normal desires in the world based on your karma, and you will deserve it. That's the way to do it. But you cannot do it in shortcut way. So these are the barriers that are there. Once you cross the barrier is set by the dharmic principles. And in fact, the laws of the society and laws of the nation are also based on that. If you try to break it based on the force of your desire, you are going to suffer the consequences. You will cut your fingers. With hopeless wish, one looks and lingers, one breaks the glass and cuts his fingers. But they whom truth and wisdom lead can gather honey from a weed. This is talking about the sattvic person. The sattvic person, what he does is that he is able to live the life according to truth and wisdom. He can gather honey from a weed. That means he is not dependent on the external pleasure and he is running behind them. He is actually self-satisfied and self-sufficient by himself, by within himself. He is extremely okay with it. Anything that comes along the way, even if it is the not most fanciful thing, he is able to derive pleasure out of it. We are going to see later the poem on village preacher. Village preacher is a self-sufficient picture of perfection. Some beggar who is coming there, some retired soldier who is coming, he is entertaining them as guests and he is happily spending his time with them. And they are also able to have full satisfaction with him. This is the life of a sattvic person. With hopeless wish, one looks and lingers, one breaks the glass and cuts his fingers. But they whom truth and wisdom lead, that means your pursuit of the self is the ultimate for you. You are in the path of the truth. And such a person can gather honey even from a weed. A weed is something that does not produce anything, but they are able to extract happiness out of it. One of the most wonderful poems here. Before we conclude, we'll just go through this Swamiji's commentary here.
A passing bee perceived pineapples arranged in 3 rows within a glass frame. With eager appetite, the bee tried to reach it. It could only see the ripe fruit, but could not get through the glass. Having thus wasted half a day, it flew another way. William Cowper compares the bee's behavior to that of humanity. He gives 2 examples to highlight mankind's weaknesses for acquisition and enjoyment. The poet symbolizes them as the 2 cardinal human obsessions for wealth and women. These weaknesses relate to your physical, emotional and intellectual yearnings. The 3 rows of pineapple symbolize your attractions at these 3 levels. The poet describes a man craving for a woman sitting in a passing chariot. Also, a woman who longs for merchandise in show windows. In either case, the glass stands between the desirer and the object of desire. The glass indicates the impediments that one faces to fulfill one's desires. The very sight of a sense object inflames the mind of the unwise. The mind falls an easy prey to these enchanting sense objects in this world. It develops endless desires. Some people are frustrated all their life, unable to fulfill their desires. Others plunge into sense objects rashly and meet severe consequences. Thus, people spend half their life in material and sensual pursuit and suffer from disappointment. The poet concludes beautifully. Those who are truthful and wise find bliss within themselves. They can draw happiness from anything, honey from a weed.
पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते ॐ शान्तिः शान्तिः शान्तिः